What you're looking at is the smallpox virus, one of the deadliest pathogens on the planet. For centuries, it did a wonderful job of helping keep the human population in check. But times change, and sometimes Mother Nature needs a hand in improving her creations. Like, say, speeding them up a little bit, making them contagious when they should be quietly incubating in a host, or making them more lethal. I didn't come up with the approach on my own. My friend Vitaly is one of the pioneers in the field, and the idea has been around for years. Genome as data. You see, once we digitized DNA, we made it infinitely mutable. We could do 1,000 virtual variations in the time it used to take to grow a 1 lab-grade generation of pathogens. And we could pick the best, most lethal combinations and make them real. That's how you make a killer virus, you see. Mix in genetic code from other diseases, and you move the sliders all the way up on lethality and virulence. The goal was a 90% mortality rate. I'm not sure my green poison is going to quite hit that, but honestly, that's just details. As long as most of humanity goes, the Earth stands a fighting chance. Technically, technology is what's killing the planet. But that's not really the case. It's the greed that drives the technology. But a funny thing happened on the way to $100 genome maps and 3D printed plastic toys. Someone figured out those technologies could be repurposed, modified for the greater good. Me. Now, my virus is going to do what nature's always done. Decide who lives and who dies. And if nature decides I die, then I die. If nothing else, I'll have a lot of company. Natural selection at its finest, helped along by a little unnatural genetic manipulation. It's all data, really. Life's just a method of processing it. The same way I processed the smallpox genome on my laptop. And who's to say that wasn't the plan all along? If, by some miracle, you survive green poison, then nature's decided you deserve to live. The rest of us shouldn't and won't. Godspeed. I'll see you in hell.
With a virus like smallpox, what you have is a ticking biological time bomb.
This is what a weapon of mass destruction in the 21st century looks like. And if this were dry powdered variola virus, you carry half a pound in a briefcase and release it in the subway system, and it will change the course of history.
After this organism invades, you have up to 14 days, which the individual will feel perfectly well. And then the individual will begin to experience a fever.
And then eventually they get bumps, red bumps. These red bumps become blisters.
Blisters and then pustules.
For people who have a very mild disease, they may just have a dozen or so of these lesions. People that have really severe smallpox, it's confluent, it's all over their body. These people don't want to move, they don't want to even bend a joint because they'll start bleeding and they're hurting. And they're some of the most miserable people that you can imagine.
When smallpox invaded the body, you had the same rash that you had on the outside of your body going on in your throat, lungs, esophagus, stomach, intestines. It was terrible.
There was no treatment except to try to keep people comfortable.
Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahushua, call hello Yahweh Bashim Shah, Bashim Rakakadash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught in his truth, and much respect to the Akim after laboring in his work, and also to the believers scattered across the four corners of the earth, the hopefully elect in the USA. Shalom. The book of Micah, chapter 2 and verse 1. NLT. Judgment against wealthy oppressors. What sorrow awaits you who lie awake at night, thinking of evil plans. You rise at dawn and hurry to carry them out, simply because you have the power to do so. When you want a piece of land, you find a way to seize it. When you want someone's house, you take it by fraud and violence. You cheat a man of his property, stealing his family's inheritance. But this is what the Lord Yahweh says: I will reward your evil with evil. You won't be able to pull your neck out of the noose. You will no longer walk around proudly, for it will be a terrible time. And who else could this be talking about other than your friendly neighborhood so-called white man, who behind the scenes is working all kinds of mischief, practicing it because it is in the power of his hands. And so talks in the news right now is that smallpox is on alert. All right. And recently, this guy BG, as we call him, mentioned something about a second pandemic that would get the people's attention. And here he is again, warning of a smallpox terror attacks as he seeks research funds. All right. BG warned that bioterrorism could be a bigger threat than naturally occurring epidemics. Okay. And so as we can see, these devils are up to something. And they're getting ready to release something. All right. So USA Today, FBI, CDC investigating several vials labeled smallpox found at the jab research facility. So all of a sudden they have found vials, all right, with smallpox. Okay. And these devils, as you just saw on the clip, they practice what they do. And, it was supposed to be said that the smallpox was eradicated, but as you can see, it has been not. All right. And so what they have been doing in the lab is modifying, the smallpox. All right. And I watched the movie 007 To Never Die Again. It pretty much shows, the smallpox in the movie. And they were speaking about how they can pretty much manipulate the virus to suit certain ethnicities. All right. And we understand that they going after Jake, just like they do with the foods. They're able to manipulate the DNA of the food. All right. Genetically modify the food just so we can destroy Jake. So this is no different. They have perfected their craft. All right. From the smallpox from, the northern tribe during the time of Christopher Columbus, when they gave us blankets to sleep. All right. Which caused a huge amount of deaths, dealing with the Israelites back then. So the same thing is coming back. These curses are still in effect. And this man is a sword. Okay. He is a sword of the Most High. And all you Israelites who refuse to return, well, you're not going to have any protection when this man does release these plagues. They just did a recent experiment, I think, in New York City in a subway where they kind of released or had a fake drill, had a drill about the release of some kind of toxin within the subway. And so that's probably what they're going to do. All right. That's probably what they're going to do and start an outbreak. And as you heard in the opening clip, all it needs is like half a pound of this shit to be released into, the airways or whatnot to start a pandemic. All right. To start mass deaths. And as we can see also that this smallpox is no joke. You see? And this is why this man got to be stopped. He's not going to be stopped until he be taken out of the way. All right? So, let's go to the book of Matthew, the 24th chapter, and verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. So we just at the beginning stage of Jacob's trouble, the beginning of great death and great mournings, as it says in 2nd Esdras. And pestilences are going to be a major part for you Israelites who refuse to return. Ezekiel, the 7th chapter, in verse 5, thus said the Lord Yahweh Botch, and evil and only evil, behold, is come. And Romans 15:4 tells us that whatever things are written aforetime, they were written for our learning, so we can consider what the Lord did during this time and relate that unto now, because he's going to send these plagues back using his sword Esau. All right. So Ezekiel 7:14, it says, they have blown the trumpet, and that will be the prophets, even to make all ready, but none go to the battle. For my wrath is upon all the multitude thereof. All right, mainly right here in Babylon the Great. He says, the sword is without, and the pestilence and the famine within. He that is in the field shall die with the sword, and he that is in the city, famine and pestilence shall devour him. All right. So in the cities that would be diseases, pestilences, man. All right, sent by the so-called white man, ultimately the left hand of the Most High, Yahweh Botch. All right, to slay the wicked of the Israelites, because you are the target. You see. So again, in NLT, verse 15, there is war outside the city, and disease and famine within. Those outside the city walls will be killed by enemy sword. So if you try to flee from the city and go into some kind of secluded area where you're going to be taken by the sword, it says those inside the city will die of famine and disease. You see? Will die of famine and disease. Okay? So these are just the beginning of sorrows. The Lord is fed up, man. And you Jakes, it's going to be the worst time in human history, so much so that if the Lord didn't come back for the elect, then no flesh will be saved, as it says in the book of Mark, the 13th chapter. All right, so 2 Corinthians 15 and verse 5, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and the hurtful works are fulfilled. You see? So plagues are coming to this place, just like in ancient Egypt. All right. 2 Corinthians 15 and verse 11. It says, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, speaking about the elect, and smite Egypt with plagues as before. You see? And will destroy all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn. This place is going to mourn, man, for the plagues. Okay. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that Yahweh Botch shall bring upon it. Okay. So get ready to see great death. Right? The days come that many shall be taken in a great number, as it says in what is it, 2 Corinthians, the 5th chapter, verse 1. Nevertheless, as concerning the tokens, behold, the days shall come that they which dwell upon the earth shall be taken in a great number, and the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith. Okay? So great sorrows is coming for this earth, and Revelation 12 and 12 says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Alright? Everyone that's outside the truth is going to catch pure hell, man. And then they're going to seek a vision from the prophet. But it's going to be too late for a lot of them. Alright? So, boils, as you can see, that smallpox is like a boil. Alright? And Apostle Tahar went into, the curses earlier and pointed that out. And that was actually placed upon Job. All right, in which Job is a reflection of the elect, and Israel as a whole, pretty much, because the Lord smote him with bowls, right? Disease. Job 2. In verse 7, all right? It says, so went Satan forth from the presence of the Lord Yahweh, and smote Job with sore bowls from the sole of his foot unto his crown. All right, just like you see right here. So this man of the Lord, Job, all right, was tormented. He was tortured by Yahweh Botch, using Satan to try his integrity. All right. And so when you go into this word boil in the Hebrew 7822, it says a boil, inflamed spot, inflammation, eruption of man, leprosy of man and beast. Strong's definition. All right, you got a burning, inflammation, an ulcer, a boil, a botch. All right. It says from the sole of his foot unto his crown, so it was covered from head to toe, you know, these boils. And so verse 8 says, and he took him a potsherd and scraped himself withal. So these boils, which are pus bumps, end up drying out. And it says he took a potsherd and he sat down among the ashes, okay, to scrape that shit off. And his wife said unto him, dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse the Most High and die, because he was going through straight hell. But the Lord's about to put these curses upon these 2/3 this time, all right? Because Psalms 91 says that Psalms 91 verse 9 says, because thou hast made the Lord Yahweh Botch, which is my refuge, even the Most High thy habitation, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. All right, so no plague is gonna come nigh to the dwelling of the elect. All right, for he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Okay, so these plagues are coming, but the elect will be preserved from it. All right, we're about to see some horrible shit, man. It's about to be some horrible judgments going out. And who's being used for those judgments is going to be Esau, so-called white man, the sword. So yeah, that's pretty much it, man, all right? Buckle up, it's going to be a dark winter. So till next time, I say shalom.